Good morning. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be in the presence of some of Carter Foundation's finest. My name is Dustin Markham. As y'all know, I'm a practicing attorney here in Meridian. I've been doing so for about 10 years, and on this great day, I have the pleasure to shake hands with the future. So they're going to ask me some questions, and before we get started and get deep into the questions, they're going to get the opportunity to introduce themselves and then kind of tender some questions, and hopefully it'll be a discussion and hopefully a conversation, and not necessarily an interrogation. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
My name is Jordan Gowdy. I attend West Lauderdale High School. I'm 16. I'm a sophomore. And it's a pleasure to be here, to sit in front of you and talk to you.
Definitely. Pleasure's mine.
My name Trigger. I go to Carver Middle School. I'm in the 8th grade.
Okay.
My name is Sean. I'm 14. And I'm in the 8th grade and I go to Carver Middle School.
All right. Before y'all ask me some questions, y'all tell me. Now, my understanding is that y'all have, briefly been in Carter Foundation. You've made it about a year. So just really quickly, tell me some of the things that y'all have been able to do and one of the things that y'all take from it so far.
We do a lot of community events, like with the Western House. We go out and help.
Okay. You enjoy that? Cool. What about you?
Helping out with kids, like at height with helping out with their birthday parties and stuff like that with costumes.
Okay. Mr. Gallagher?
I just have fun with the kids. Well, not the kids. I'm a kid too. I just have fun with them and helping other people. I love helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Like the house we did. You remember that? We did the house. We had to rebuild it, we had to pick up the leftover stuff from the damage that the hurricane had did, or a tornado. I really have fun with them, trying to build a better bond with them.
Definitely. Well, doing community service and doing positive things in the community allow people to remember you for positive things. And it allows you to build contacts and relationships. So people know you not just as a student that goes to Carver, or a student that goes to West Lauderdale, or what grade you're in, or another black youth. They remember your name. They remember what you did for them and how it affected them, especially people who are not necessarily as fortunate as others. All right? So I guess let's jump into the questioning. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Let's do it.
At what age did you decide what career you wanted?
It was late. I never really had my mind made up until, midway through later college. I didn't know when I finished high school at Meridian High. I didn't know when I finished community college. But when I got to Jackson State for my junior and senior year, I started leaning more towards law and an interest in law. And so I started taking some of the classes that were geared towards that major and actually declared to be my major. So it took me a little while, we talked a little bit about it before we went on camera, but initially when I went to MCC, in addition to my basics, I started taking things like Chemistry 1, Chemistry 2, Zoology 1, Zoology 2, because I thought I was going to go into the medical field. I really wanted to do it. But then I started saying, do I like to write and speak and read and interpret and comprehend? Or do I like to perform surgery and operate and do some of the possibly not so fun things as it relates to treating people? And I think that I lean more towards law. And in essence, as a lawyer, you do treat people. Just like you go to a doctor and you tell the doctor what's wrong and they treat you and prescribe medication, you do the same thing as a lawyer. They come in with their problems, and you have to diagnose what solution you can give to their problems to make them better.
So how many times have you given up?
Giving up as far as my career path, I haven't necessarily given up, but I've lost motivation. There are times when you think that something's too hard for you, and you immediately say, "Man, it's in for me. I don't want to do it." And there's some things when people discourage you from doing it because they don't think that you'll be successful in it like you think you'll be successful in it. There are also times when, my first year of law school, well, first of all, when I was at MCC, it was very hard. MCC is very hard. They call it Harvard on the Hill for a reason. I got to Jackson State and I had a 4.0 average my junior and senior year because it was nowhere near as difficult at MCC. And then when I got to law school, my first year, I wasn't about class from 9 to 12 every day, and then studying in the library from 12:30 in the afternoon until 10 to 11 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. And on Saturdays, having to go to the library and study and put together outlines and seeing my friends who didn't take law school as seriously as I did, walking by the library, going to the bars, going to hang out, going to parties. So you want to give up. You want to throw your hands up and say, "Hey, this isn't for me. It's hard. I can do something easier and make money." But the end reward is what you always have to look to, the light at the end of the tunnel. So I never gave up, but you lose motivation quickly when something kind of doesn't go your way.
Who encouraged you through school to accomplish your dream?
My parents first of all, I wanted to have a really good relationship with God. And when you're young, the world's pulling at you because you're growing and trying to learn about everything the world has to offer, and you're stuck with having to build a relationship with God. So it kind of tears you on both ends. But I think God kind of kept me grounded. My parents were both in the school system, so they kept me level-headed and made sure my work was done and had the relationships with teachers to keep me on task. And if I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, to be able to correct me. They had me in all kinds of activities, whether it was Boy Scouts or piano or band or anything, things in my church, things in the community. And, they were really strong on me. And then I had, kind of not necessarily mentors, but people I looked up to. I looked up to Thurgood Marshall, the first African-American Supreme Court Justice, the attorney who made it possible for us as black people to go to school with whites. He was the lead attorney on Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka in 1954. So people like that, Martin Luther King, who's a frat brother of mine. He's an Alpha. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. Things like that kind of motivated me. Things like that, man, if they can do it in their times against that adversity, then I can definitely do it now.
What influenced you to be an Alpha, and how has that played a role in your life?
Seeing leaders. My piano teacher, Floyd Hearns, was an Alpha, and every Wednesday I would go to his house. He stays right over on at West End, that West End area, on a hill, and right by Highland Park. And every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, I would go into his piano room, and he had this big Alpha Phi Alpha clock that sat right there on top of his piano. So I would see that, and I asked him about it. He tried to explain it to me, but as a younger kid, you don't really know anything about it. And then you start seeing, Alpha Phi Alpha is embodied by nothing but leaders. Thurgood Marshall, Martin Luther King, Stuart Scott, the former ESPN analyst who was one of the most eclectic African-American analysts on ESPN, kind of took ESPN to the next level. People like that you see. The investment billionaire who paid off student loan debt for Morehouse. You see stuff like that, and you say, man, those guys are very influential. They're leaders. And then when you start inquiring about Alpha, you find out that, you embody Alpha. You're a leader. And so I wanted to be a leader. And I think that was one of the things that motivated me to choose that fraternity.
So how long you been in the industry?
I've been practicing law for 10 years. I passed the bar. I took the bar in February of 2011. And I found out I passed it in April of 2011. It takes them about 2 months to grade everything. So I've been practicing for about 10 years. April 2021 will be 10 years in practice.
What financial caused a large factor in your decision?
Repeat your question, I'm sorry.
What financial compensation a large factor in your decision?
Yeah, because you want to make money. You want to make money. Whatever you do as a job, anything that's keeping you from doing what you really want to do, you want to make money. So, I've grown from the point of getting out of law school and saying, man, I just want to make money. I really want to make money. To now, 10 years in, saying, God has blessed me to make money. I want to help people. I want everybody who walks into my door to feel confident that I'm going to be able to do everything I can for them and help them. And I've been able to do that so far. So, I think with any field or any profession, you go want to make money, but it's all about rewarding yourself and being rewarded for your work and having the respect and the reputation of everyone that you're going to do a good job.
What did you do before you got into your career?
I was a student. I went straight through school, man. When I was in high school, I worked at Old Navy, I think. Yeah, I worked at Old Navy. I worked at J.C. Penney as a stock person. I used to have to unload the trucks every day during the summer, and then certain days when I was in school. But I was a student. I focused on school. So that's what I did. My career as a lawyer varied. When I first got out of school, I didn't know anything, and I had to learn from a seasoned lawyer who was a well-known civil rights lawyer here, Bill Reedy Sr. And then I went out on my own, and then was invited to a firm as the first African American to work in that firm, Barry Thagard May and Bailey, not Barry Thagard and May. And now I'm practicing on my own, and I'm able to kind of control the clientele I have and the services I provide and what I do on a day in and day out basis. So yeah, that's kind of been the history. Not necessarily making a whole bunch of money at J.C. Penney's and Old Navy, but you pay the cost to get to where you want to be.
Do you regret your decision that you made to take this job?
Nuh-uh. I loved it, man. In addition to some stuff I do, and we talked before we got on here, I do criminal defense for Lauderdale County and the city of Meridian. So every Monday morning, I handle all the DUIs and the drug cases and the paraphernalia cases and the domestic violence cases and shoplifting. And then from a youth court standpoint, I'm the prosecutor. So for kids 10 to 17 years of age, who come out to the Lauderdale County Juvenile Center, I decide how we charge them, and I decide what kind of discipline we impose, whether it be detaining them in a facility or getting them the help they need through counseling or making them pay a fine or replace what they broke or tore up or put them in family counseling with their parents. So I love what I do. I don't regret any job I have because even if it might not be the best job, it kind of conditions you and gives you the experience so that you know how to approach your next job.
Do you get paid a lot?
Do I get paid a lot? I'm blessed. I get to set kind of what my fees are for what people have to pay me in order to help them, and then I have the county pays me for the job I do for justice court defense. The city pays me for what I do for them, and the county pays me for what I do for youth court. But clients, it varies, man. Clients, you kind of decide what's going to cost for you to do something for a client, and y'all agree on it and contract on it, and it's there. And then for other clients who are like businesses and companies, they're going to pay you a set rate every month, and then you're going to have to kind of contract with them on how much each hour costs that you give to them outside of that initial retainer.
So what advice do you give to young black males to try to come up in the industry?
Work hard. Work hard. Don't get discouraged by anything. Don't think anything's impossible. The same thing that we're telling our young black women about Kamala Harris, who's the vice president. Our black men need to know it too. They can do anything. And it doesn't just start with Barack Obama or Kamala Harris. It starts right in your community. If you can envision it, if you see it, you can do it. If you see it, you can do it. You put the work in, you work hard, you build a reputation, you can do it. Regardless of what people are telling you, you can't do it. Regardless of what your financial situation is, what your home environment is or lack thereof, regardless of what adversity, work hard. Hard work overcomes a lot. And again, before we got on here, I was here working on a Saturday morning. We were handling stuff, calling people on a Saturday morning. I was here Friday night doing some stuff. If you outwork the next person, it's gonna stand out. People are gonna respect it. And in my field, other lawyers respect it, judges respect it, and your clients respect it. And people who aren't even your clients but have the opportunity to be your clients are more willing to come and see you because they respect the work you do. So I just tell y'all, work hard. I tell everybody, work hard and outwork the next person and keep God first.
What's your favorite part about your job?
People. Being able to let somebody come in and you diagnose their problem and talk to them. And over the course of practice, over the course of their case, you build a relationship. They gain respect. So that every time you call them or every time they call you, they trust everything you tell them. Not just because they paid you, but because they respect your opinion. And I have clients who call me at 6:30 on a Friday night when they're supposed to be picking their child up to say, hey, Dustin, I don't know, I got into it with the mother, but I'm here to pick the child up. What do I do? I have clients who call me on Sundays and Saturdays and say, hey, I'm in the middle of a divorce with my husband and this issue came up. What do I do? Or they text me because they respect my opinion and they respect my advice and they're going to do what I ask them to do or tell them to do over what their emotions tell them to do. And that's major. So the best part of my job is dealing with people and building a relationship so that they can say, hey, I trust everything Dustin says and I'm going to do exactly what he tells me to do. And then when their case is over, they go back to work, back to their house, back into the community, and they tell their family and friends. If you want somebody who you can respect, who's going to tell you and you can trust them, you go see who I went to see. It's better than any billboard. It's better than any commercial. It's better than any Facebook post or social media post. How you live your life. So that's the most important thing I like about practice, helping people and building that relationship.
How does it feel to be urban in Meridian, Mississippi?
How does it feel to be
urban?
Urban?
Have an urban voice across Meridian, Mississippi.
It's big. I grew up here, and you come back and you're able to work for people who watched you grow up and give to the kids of people who you were in school with. You know, so it's big. And, you know, relationships are everything. So you can go, wherever your profession is, you can go somewhere. If you can come back here and your clientele is made up of people you went to school with and people you used to hang out with and parents of your friends, then you have a great foundation. If I walk through youth court and a young man's in trouble, but I know his mom, I'm gonna call his mom and see what the problem is. If I know his dad or played Little League baseball with his dad, I'm gonna call his dad and say, hey man, tell me about your son. Tell me what brought him to this point. Let's talk about it. Relationships are everything. So it's a love to be in Meridian and be able to do that, to have those relationships because you really see the differences that you're making.
Well, that's all the questions I have. Y'all have any more questions?
All right.
All right, this is my last question. When did you realize you love what you do?
When I positioned myself, you know, like I said, I worked for a lawyer. When I first got out of school, we talked about this before we got on here. When I first got out of school, no, but I want to answer the question because I told you I was going to answer the question. When I first got out of school, I had no clue. I didn't know anything. I had to work with a lawyer who knew everything, who was very smart and who was patient with me. So I didn't necessarily understand, and I didn't understand the rewards of that job, but I was learning. And he paid me. I don't think I made $30,000 that year with him. But he gave me $500,000 worth of knowledge, learning from him, how to set up an office, how to set up files. And then I worked with a firm, and I got even more knowledge about professionalism and how to streamline things and how to delegate. And so I used all that and my experiences as a member of the city council, having to deal with people every day, people calling your phone at 1 a.m. saying the line's broken, people calling you saying that a car wrecked in their yard, people calling you asking when you go get gutters cleaned, when you go have a gym open, when you go build something for the kids in this community. So from a professional standpoint, I learned everything I needed to learn about how to be a lawyer from those who were patient enough to teach me. And from a community perspective, I was able to learn from experiences and from my political service job and from my dad, who was an educator for 40 years. My mom, too, because she has a great heart. But my dad, who was a teacher, he dealt with people every day. He dealt with kids every day. He dealt with parents every day. When he became a principal, parents only saw him when there was something bad going on. So he learned how to handle issues, and he kind of, laid that on me. And it's a lot of times I still kind of lean on him for advice. But when I got to the place where I could dictate the clients I take and the amount of time I work and the amount of income I wanted to make and the amount of people I wanted to help, that's when I achieved being happy. Because I can walk out of this office on a Friday and go to a Meridian High game, and the coaches got my logo on their shirts. I can go speak to a classroom. And the kids have my T-shirts on. They remember me giving their T-shirts to the cheerleaders throwing them out at the game. I can go to a Carter Foundation meeting, and the young men I go to see at the meeting when I'm seeing my friend James are the same young men that sat at my table in my office, and talked about what it means to be Black history in 2021. So that's what makes me happy.
What do you have to say to the kids in high school or across the Meridian that want to be a lawyer?
Work hard. Come see me. Never be afraid to ask questions. Never be afraid to ask for advice. Never be afraid to ask for somebody to guide you. When I didn't know what I wanted to do, John Compton, the school board attorney, sat me down and talked to me about being a lawyer. When I went to law school and didn't like it my first year, Bill Reedy Sr., who hired me out of law school, was a guy who kind of talked me off the ledge and said, "Hey man, don't quit." I literally came home after my first year of law school and took the Praxis 1 and the Praxis 2 to be a teacher. I was going to quit law school and be a teacher because I just didn't like it. I didn't like having to study that long. I didn't like stressing out. I didn't like having all these pimples on my face from stress and being in the library and anxiety and not knowing what's going to be on the exam or having to sit in the room and write for 3 hours. So people who talk me off the ledge, work hard, man. Get mentors. Y'all got a great one. James shouldn't be the only one. James is opening the door for you to meet me and to meet Corey and other people in this community. Don't be afraid to ask somebody for guidance. That's going to set you apart too. Hard work is going to set you apart. And having people to guide you is going to set you apart. I promise you. What else? We good?
Good.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
You good? All right. So it's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
And I'll tell them thank you.
Thank you for having us on here. I hope the kids and the people that see this reach out to you.
Definitely. And if I can ever be any help to y'all or anybody else, y'all send them to me. Y'all know where I am now. And this ain't gonna be the last time you see me. So like I said, it's been a pleasure, and look forward to some of the other great things y'all will be able to do post-COVID when everything goes back to normal.